One is open. One is open. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. We're here with Shiva Kailash Shambho, raising money for Africa and raising money for everything and everyone, in fact. So we're lucky to have Shiva here with us today and sharing his energy and sharing his time and sharing his spiritual sense and spiritual feelings. We also have one of our community's member here coming to join for this retreat, this period. So it's a very exciting time. And Shiva, do you have anything that you'd like to share? Anything that you'd like to say? I think that he does. Here, let me see. What is Shiva? Hold on, he's been feeling a little bit weird lately. So I see what he might want to talk about or say. Hold on here. Let's see what Shiva wants to say here.
That those kind of this correlates or navigate people's position. I'm not attracted to children. I'm not attracted to women. I'm not attracted to children. Men. I'm not attracted to children. Men. I'm not attracted to children. Men. I'm not attracted to children.
Huh. That's kind of out of the blue, Shiva, but I'm glad that that's the case for you, I suppose. So we're here building our community. We're raising money for Africa. And that's a great thing to ask. That's a great question to ask. Are we sure? A question we can always ask ourselves, are we sure? Are we sure what we think is true or correct or real or necessary? Oh, Shiva just came over today. Sure, I would recommend that others try to become or being a Buddhist monk. That's a good thing to try. It's a good thing to experience. If you have the access to doing something like that and trying and exploring and going outside of your comfort zone, going outside of your current world of experience to a new world of experience. Going outside of your current belief model about what's going on, about your current identity. Sometimes we have an identity of being depressed or being anxious or being confused. So Shiva, what do you think about that? What do you have to say about that, Shiva?
I'm not attracted to children. I'm not a. I'm not attracted.
Can somebody make sure that you do me a favor? Say that again for me, Shiva.
I'm not attracted to children. I'm not attracted.
Can somebody do me a?
Well,
Oh boy, I couldn't have said it better myself. Say that again for me, Shiva. I am not a what?
I'm not a pedophile.
My boy.
Oh, Shiva's here, everybody. So what a joy that is. Yeah, you could be Buddhist and believe in Christianity, but remember the Buddhist practice that we do. The Buddhist practice that we do is not based in belief. Freedom from belief. Freedom from believing. That's right. Yeah. Well, when we feel that sadness, when we feel that sickness, that affliction, then it's like we're aware of a tumor, or we're aware of a pus-filled nodule in the mind. So we look at it and we drain it. Look right at that affliction. Don't try to avoid it at all. Don't try to, because if you're trying to get rid of it, that's actually what's allowing that affliction to operate, that avoidance from the way that things are. So drill right into it. Drill right into your direct experience of, whatever afflicted state it is. Look at your own mind. Go deeper into your own mind with awareness, with attention, with concentration, like a scalpel. So we're going to be doing a lot more live streams with Shiva in the near future, just like we are here doing today with Shiva here. And he's made a commitment to be less selfish and be more collaborative and be more supportive of the work that we're attempting to do here and creating this meditation center here in Vietnam. And so Shiva's made that commitment, and that's why we have him here. He's quiet right now. He's sometimes quiet, but I think he's going to be getting himself together soon enough.
well, not.
It better myself.
I'm not a pedophile.
My boy.
Huh. Okay, Shiva. Well, thank you for sharing that. And we know that this is a good practice for Shiva because he's practiced like this a lot of the times, keeping his hands together in a state of reverence and practicing sincerely. So he's in the right place and he's doing the right thing. And we really appreciate Shiva being here and coming here to practice. Get the other one to put on top. Put on top. And honey, this coal is not ready. This coal is not cooked all the way. That's why it's not working. Need to go back on the oven. Not cooked all the way.
Cook all the way.
No, look. Not turn on. This is a black part, not turn on.
Okay.
So you have to put back on
Okay.
the machine. The heat machine. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you liked the stream. Okay, welcome anytime. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I got your message and I wanted to reach out. I wanted to speak with you.
Yeah, sure. I'm just working.
You have a job?
A job?
Yeah, you have a job?
I mean, I run businesses, but businesses have different jobs, different tasks.
So what brought on this whole how old are you, first of all?
37.
Yeah. So what brought on this whole, way of looking? Because there's a lot of business guys that are just happy with their beers and their cigarettes. So
Yeah, I don't drink alcohol, and I smoke a little bit, but not a lot. Um, I don't know. Something I've been thinking about for a long time.
when did it start, do you think?
As far back as I could remember, probably early 20s. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's different. It's difficult because until we get more more support and more experience to go deeper in our meditation and our wisdom and our compassion and all that, the mind's very fractured. You know, there's all these different personas. There's all these different versions of
Oh yeah,
ourselves that are just kind of taped and glued together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just shut it all off.
Ignore or try to ignore it. Try to make it go away.
Yeah, it's observation. Observation. I'm at peace, truly, and even when I'm animated or so-called upset, I'm really not. It's just I'm expressing myself. I feel comfortable to express myself in that way. Uh, I don't view it as, like something bad or, you know, it's more or less like if someone needs to be yelled at and it's going to wake them up, I'll do it. If someone needs to see some type of sadness or disappointment, then I'll express myself that way to benefit someone else.
What have you found the
Yeah.
value in, in our relationship or in this space to be for you?
Oh, great. Yeah, it was
I mean, what do you
synchronicity.
what do you really get from it?
Everything, everything, all of it. Everything. Where do I start? Um,
Because
to
I'm
be
also in the process of learning, how, in what way, and how people find the value in this space. You know what I mean? And what they really see from it or what they really feel from it that keeps them coming back and wanting to make use of it.
um, yeah. I mean, just all of it, like everything. It's all truth. Um, calling out the bullshit, standing up for yourself, spreading awareness, and also really tackling like the the core aspect of suffering and the delusion of ourselves, because you can get lost in the sauce, especially as an entrepreneur or someone that's active. You can get lost in the sauce, and ego can really like just hijack your whole being, and then you're like doing retarded shit and making huge mistakes. And it's just very exhausting operating from ego. It's very exhausting. So yeah, it's that, um, comic relief, everything. Yeah, it's cool. But I mean, more about my practice. That's the main thing. I mean, these things that we do, the things that you do, and all that is just like a a doorway to something deeper. Yeah, basically. But what it's all about, yeah, it's really drawn me back to reality because I think I've been asleep for a very long time, entertaining myself with just toys, pleasures, and you know stuff that doesn't mean much, especially if it's not really curing your suffering. It's more like distracting you from inside. But everyone's super, super good at pretending that they're okay.
The mask.
Um, the mask, yeah. Now, like when you express yourself, so that is the ultimate state of freedom. When you speak in tongues, when you put markers or this or convulse or these behavior, You have to be in a state of like, it's like bliss. Like there's a quote that Mark Twain said. It's like, what is it? Sing like no one's listening, dance like no one's, something like that. So yeah, it's just complete freedom, and that's like what I respect about artists is
Well,
that
what's that doing for you? You know, what is that? What do you really feel that that's doing for you? Experiencing that or being around that or feeling connected to that in some way. Because that's the essential point. Like if we might have the most enlightened person in the world, but if we don't have that sense of connection and intimacy with them, then, we might as well just be reading a book.
yeah, yeah. Well, for me, I mean, I absorb, I learn, and I take note, and I apply, and it's helping me be more honest and be more gracious and more effective in my delivery of what I'm trying to communicate with everyone, whether it's a point I'm trying to make, and I don't try to make points to destroy people or win something. It's more or less, hey, like, I see what you're doing is not really working out for you. Here's the path.
Maybe this could help.
Not maybe, like, try, like, in a way, everyone has their own style of communicating. I'm really aggressive and commanding, and that's where learning how to be graceful in my delivery and be more empathetic, or not that I'm not empathetic, but on the outside looking in, it looks like I'm just talking at people rather than talking with them. That's something it takes fine tuning, because everyone reacts differently to how you deliver things to them, a message. So it's good to be mindful on what could be more effective for others and what's not for some people. Yeah, to really uplift people, because that's real power. Is Real power is not commanding, but inspiring and empowering people. Like when you feel like all the greatest generals, they are on the battlefield with their brothers, right? Not like you do this, you do that. Like you see those English people in Braveheart just using people as pawns, right, for their expansion. But the Mongols were all brothers.
And in
It,
the modern society, the modern world, there's not much belief in the potential to connect unless we're trying to make money together or someone's trying to get us to believe something. And I think my core, when I try to operate from my center, actually, I'm not trying to get anybody to believe anything. If they're reaching out for help, if they're interested in these certain things, I can share my experience with pursuing those interests and try to identify value points. But ultimately, my being, my operation, the intention isn't to get anybody to believe anything, because I don't want anything from anybody in this here and now, in this effervescent live stream of consciousness. And then from that
yeah,
place, we feel, I don't know, maybe we feel that there's a mutual banner, there's a mutual alignment, and then we can support each other, we can collaborate, we can do many different things together. And one of the things that's really, I think, worthwhile in my mind is this idea of helping people and just this intention to help. And how we, as these human beings, these modern monkeys in this algorithmic world, how we can be of more help to other people in all kinds of different ways. And not saying that is this like this vague point for discussion. Let's all think about how we can help other people, but coming together and creating a basis for being able to do that. Because it's one thing to have the material resources. I think probably everybody here has the material resources to go and give some money to somebody. But I think for structural changes and shifts in people's lives and in environments, it's going to take a lot more than just a couple bucks here and there.
Yeah, money's just an outcome. It's not, shouldn't be really a goal. It is a micro goal. It's more like a net result of something, but and it's great. It's a tool, but you'll make more money when you obviously get to the core of the person's problem. And money is just a form, it's a form of value. Like one could say, oh, helping them like fix their problem is as a value. Anything that's valuable. I mean, because money can't solve certain things, and then it can solve other things. So it's the wisdom of understanding where it can solve problems. Some people have all the money in the world, but they're still like pieces of shit, or they're doing cocaine and fucking whores and going back to their wife and kids and like yelling at them, and they're in debt. Like there's all people have all different types of shit going
Yeah.
on. So it's more or less finding where they're suffering. It's like a doctor. You press and diagnose and find where it's really hurting, and that's great. I mean, that's also great for it's also great as an income stream, as a business. And I know that you're a Buddhist, but that shouldn't make you allergic to
I'll
money.
send to Shelly. Where's my phone? Yeah, no, we want to
Um,
have Dharma. We need the money too to do this work. We need the Dharma
th- th-
business.
th- yeah, and to be allergic or feel uncomfortable about money, or even pressing people for money, I think that's just a lack of
It's a
wisdom
lack of
and
skill as well.
everything. It's like the guy. I didn't know he had a center. I'm actually going to go there. It's in Mission, Outer Mission, or Sunset. I think it's called. His name is called Hanhua or Han something. What's his name? He had a live stream today. He has glasses, and he reveres himself as a kind of cold person, I guess. But he's been on your live stream a couple times. Um, where was I going about this? Oh, like how he talks. He's very frank. He'll even say shit, and I mean, it's a word. It shouldn't be like you go into church and they're like, don't say that, like all these bullshit formalities. Because I grew up as a Catholic, and I'm so sick of the bullshit. And when it boils down to it, all Western religion was created by white people to perverse the truth, to say that they're different than pagans, but they're really doing the same shit because a Catholic church has an altar. There's literally a goblet and a bowl of fucking bread, which represents the body of a supposed person that ascended, and another fucking, they crucified him. And then there's different groups, factions that argue where he went and who. It's just fucking like, what the fuck is this? But anyway, that is not a tool. Christianity and Islam and Judaism is not really a tool. It's just a theology of how they think the world should be. Buddhism is an actual tool. It's like a science. Like this iPhone's a tool. This M5 laptop is a tool. The car that it is a tool. It's something that could actually benefit you very practically. It's not just some romanticized horse shit, which is more or less a system of control and a perversion of the truth. Because I remember Galileo, one of the favorite stories, he proved that the I guess it was the Earth wasn't the center of our solar system, which the solar system they considered the whole entire cosmos because they're fucking idiots. And then he was, I think, they didn't crucify him, but they persecuted him, and I think they wanted to put him under a guillotine or burn him at the stake or something like that. But yeah, it's crazy. It's like these motherfuckers. Um, they've been lying to us the whole time, and it's just bullshit. It's just complete bullshit. And yeah, it's just when you're lied to once, it's just like fuck, like you lost all credibility, right? And Christians are no different because Christianity is the bastard. It is the byproduct of Catholicism. So all these bastard motherfucking Christians and Jews and used to be, I can speak Arabic, and I was born and raised a Catholic, and I went to Christian schools with a bunch of World War One and World War Two veterans and Navy SEALs, because that's kind of like my upbringing. And you know, they're all like jealous of each other. That's why they're fighting one another. Very simple case in point. Very simple. Let's simplify all the complications of the world. They're still fighting each other. So, what's going on?
Well, we have to practice meditation. We have to practice mindfulness and detachment with what is appearing now. And we have to be still enough or reflective enough or internal looking enough to apply that mindfulness and detachment to the deeper elements and aspects of our minds. You know, that's where wisdom blooms, when that willingness to investigate with detachment, with non-attachment is applied. You know, so then all these things that maybe we had thought of as valuable or important are seen as impermanent, are seen as suffering, you know, fundamentally empty or unsatisfactory. And so the mind's habit of grasping, until it's totally eviscerated, it stops grasping on these things that are less practical, less useful, and we get the freedom in this. You know, this freedom is a spontaneous freedom. It's not about our story becoming more free. The story is precisely what unfreedom relies upon, is this prison, these walls of words and phrases, these walls of people, places, situations, etc. When we develop this mindfulness and detachment, this awareness without attaching to things, all of these things that we can come across, that we can make use of, are to use only, without attachment. Now, when we don't practice meditation, we're not penetrating into the deeper mind. So we're operating under this shallow ego that's always self-convincing itself that it's correct. But to understand your mind, you have to go into your mind. You have to penetrate into your mind. You know, and this is how we cure a lot of things, but this is how we solve the problem of ignorance. We don't really have a deep understanding of our own mind. Well, why not? Because we've never dug into our own mind. We've never given the attention and the concentration and applied that to our own mind, the nature of our own mind. And so that's why you get these people, somehow they're always above everyone else. Well, they're always above everyone else because they're above their own deeper mind. And they don't have this experience to drill into it, to look into it, to investigate into the nature of that mind. So it's not about drugs, it's not about hallucinogens, but that's one of the things that when people take these substances, that's what happens, is they get forced or they get pushed into their deeper mind. So they're a little bit more aware of how unknown their self is and reality is. You know, so instead of using that energy to vent, use it to concentrate, focus on your breathing, focus on the meditation, focus on the present moment action of mindfulness and detachment, and especially focusing on these sensations, these experiences in the body, bringing the mind home to the body, experiencing the reality of the body. People live in these kind of thought worlds, and it's nonsense. And it's not useful, it's not practical, it's just living in a world of illusion. And then you're not able to hear what's being said. You're not able to listen. You're not willing to listen. Not you particularly, but many people are in that kind of situation. So they certainly can't have a conversation. And if you can't listen, you can't have a conversation, how are you going to share something meaningful and valuable with the group? You can't even listen. You can't even have a conversation because of how disconnected you are from the nature of the mind that isn't based in stories, just like the nature of the body isn't based in stories. Now, this will sound superficial. This will sound superfluous to people who have not investigated their minds and don't have a value in that, a value in contemplation, a value in looking deeply into what's here right now, not just through thoughts. The heart doesn't operate through thoughts. The central nervous system doesn't operate through thoughts. The brain doesn't operate through thoughts. The only thing that only operates through thoughts is you, and this thought stream that you is finding its landing point in and its truth point in. It's just thoughts. It's just words that, that we can't attain to or we can't recognize. It's just words and phrases. It's just words and phrases. You can't raise a child with words and phrases. You can't drill for oil with words and phrases. You can't make a garden with words and phrases. You can't do anything with just words and phrases. And yet somehow we've become locked into this mental paradigm where it's words or phrases and it's just that. And everything else is a trick, unless you're hungry or sleepy or have, you want to experience something pleasurable or you want to avoid something painful. That's why the process to work on these people and to help people develop is very often a kind of facilitated torture. Because to sit still and face your own mind and face your body, face the body, is going to be torture. It's going to be disastrous for most people. And so this constant compulsive thinking has to keep justifying the ego, the self, the belief, the stories, the made-up nonsense. And generosity is the answer to that. Because on a fundamental level, that your words and phrases are not as valuable as what you could give. But it goes back to that root of ignorance. And when we have a kind of culture that doesn't understand ignorance, this total lack of realization of awareness or realization of reality in the here and now that's not based on words and phrases, it's untenable. And the only way that these people are going to get it is by, being tortured, basically. That's how I got it, by being tortured, by going through a process of torture, Buddhist torture, Buddhist facilitated torture.
Yeah, training is it is the best. What may be torture to one could be a breeze for another. Just means that person has to up the ante.
People may come to a place like this and they're looking for. They have a right to be equal, but they'd like to determine, the ego would like to determine, is this person superior or inferior to me? So you're going to try and find out one of those ways. So for most people, it's going to be inferior because that's convenient. You're in your own home, you're using your phone, you're using your technology. right? So inferior. Then you're going to ramble on about that. But the problem is actually this right to be equal, because there's a lot of things that I could talk about, that I could share about, that you would not be able to understand, or that the people here would not be able to understand. And so why you wouldn't be able to understand that is because of your lack of insight into the falseness of this notion of self that is in fact become an operating principle for your mind, for your ego, for your thought stream. And instead of people being willing to say, I don't know what this is and I don't understand this, somehow that ignorance operates in a way where it just ignores everything that doesn't support itself. So this
Could
is
be
where the detachment comes in, to be willing to not attach to whatever nonsense is coming up that doesn't really make sense. There's not really a connection point there. And so we try to we try to turn the direction of the situation into something that's shallow, vague, superficial, superfluous, small, because we okay, I need to find my position. I don't even want to be equal to this guy, so I'm going to be superior. So I'm going to say he lives in his basement, or da 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 da. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, I understand. I thought you're now confirming what I had concluded on my own. Um, so that's good. That's why we need a sangha. We're all elevating each other, um, and people that are way more experienced or credible, or you know, yeah. I strive to be around people that are way more experienced. And yeah, growth is it is it's not a it's not a pretty thing until you learn how to see the beauty into it of it. Uh, Generally, it will be extremely uncomfortable, but that's just your ego telling you it's uncomfortable until you and I I'm guilty of this too. Until I can actually do the things that you do, there's a lot, um, and it's not just learning, right? It's practicing, embodying, being. Like you said, it's you can't just read something, think you figured it the fuck out with a Google search. It's something that has to be practiced and tested, which is why you get to a level where, oh, okay, well, you can sit in a lotus position and you can breathe. Okay, try coming to your breath, like while the airplane is like crashing, like literally, or a gun is to your head, or um, you're lighting yourself on fire as a protest or something, or whatever. It's just levels. Yeah, I'm really I'm not intrigued by the stories of the mummifications. Uh, I see I see a deeper level of attainment and peace by doing that. It is not at all that interesting, but I see that it is what kind of is what needs to be done in order to really ascend, to like completely prove that you have let this, you are ready to go to the next level. You're ready to sacrifice yourself, but in a not selfish way. Because while you're young, you got to think about what's the point of you saving yourself and leaving so many other people that you could help, right? So that's something could happen in old age. I think those people that were mummified were of old age, so they've put a lot of work in and they earned their stripes. And so next level is mummification. Uh, I don't know exactly how that process took. I think, what did they do? Like, starve themselves and just stayed put and until they died, or?
Well, you're developing a detachment from the body. So things change, the perspective changes, the approach changes, what you do. You are not the body, you are not the mind, right? So that body could be used to create a relic or an artifact of that realization. That's all that the mummification stuff is. It's an artifact of realization that these practitioners, these bodhisattvas have chosen to make. So it's a difference if you burn yourself alive or something like that out of this frustration and anger and confusion, and you want to do something. It's a whole other thing if you do that from a place of compassion and wisdom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand, definitely. Yeah, it's more like, yeah, it's just like a test. It's nothing to do with fuck the world. It's no, that's no, that has nothing to do with what we're, what we're doing here. It's more like the world when viewed as extreme, but that's fine. Um, that's fine. But really, it's about one's enlightenment and their level to be able to, like, not be bothered by anything,
Yeah.
and not be enticed by anything, because it's not just about anger, it's also about lust, it's about desire, right? Yeah.
So when can we expect you out here in Vietnam?
I think by the fall is when I intend to go.
Right.
um, yeah, I'd say, hopefully sooner. I will be in Asia, though. I'll be in, I believe, Thailand.
You're not going there for the
Uh,
prostitutes, are you?
oh no, God no. Yeah, Bangkok is a interesting place.
There's a great power in Sangha. There's a very great power in Sangha. But it's not
And
based in our thoughts or our ego values that we apply to one another. Right? It's based in our willingness to cooperate, collaborate, and to embody mindfulness and detachment together. An embodied practice that we're then sharing with one another, and then we're more empowered to help others. It's like my teacher, Seattle, I was watching something, he was talking about this, and he says, I'm able to do all this because of the amount of support that I have. If I didn't have that support, I wouldn't be able to do all these greater good deeds. So these lines of communication that aren't based in self, we can feel that, we can intuit that. That's a powerful connection. That's a Sangha connection. That's something that can be built on and something that can be built out basically indefinitely. It doesn't need to be established on the structure of self. Our current direct experience doesn't need to rely upon a lattice of self, of identity, of story. We use a story without attachment, and then we're practicing mindfulness and detachment.
That's why generosity is important, and compassion. It's a form of, well, it can be a form of detachment. Some people give out of ego. Um, I've done that a lot.
Well, some people give for tax breaks as well.
Yeah, it is smart. But especially when you're donating a large amount, it does make sense. But it's more good that comes out of it than bad, because it's the place that's getting the funds and what they do with it. But yeah, money is just, when someone has a lot of money, it's just paper. And I think generosity is giving something that you cherish, and that's what sacrifice is, and that's what means more. So if you're just giving paper, just from one screen to the next through cyberspace or a check or whatever, it has to be we don't know what's difficult for, like, giving your time, energy, and your presence and support. That means so much more, because people don't see digits that go through cyberspace. That's invisible. But what people do see is, oh, well, this person is active in the community. They're showing face, not just to show face, but they're actually a great person. This is what they really value.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it's uncomfortable for people, but it's comfortable for other people, but we need to use that comfort to empower ourselves and to take the next step, not just to disassociate into this idea of comfort. That's important to think about. Somebody asked a question about lust. Does lust create anger? We wouldn't say it that way, but lust is like it's a very deep biological drive. So lust is very connected to anger and frustration, tension, and it's also connected to greed, right? That want for more. And then it's also, lust tends to be empowered by non-practical, complicated thinking, right? This would be very pleasurable, but this would hurt someone. But we ignore that. That's the ignorance. And so we're making more potent this sense and this experience of lust through non-practical, complicated thinking. What does that mean? It means thinking that exploiting someone else or taking advantage of someone else would somehow be beneficial, when of course it wouldn't. So these deeper inherent drives, something like lust, the drive to reproduce, these are things that we need to be more aware of and not controlled by and not dominated by. That's why for yogis or monks or what have you, it's important that they have a very deep relationship with celibacy, or not being brought on by lust. Lust as a friction, frustration as a friction. Lust oftentimes comes out of frustration. We're frustrated. We're going through difficulties, so we're trying to find a way to outsource that difficulty into pleasure. So we go to lust. We go to desire. And without limits, removing all the limits. This is a very important dynamic, a very important element. Removing all the limits of someone, somewhere, someplace, sometime, some situation, and stepping into this active role of giving. And that's precisely what we do here. I mean, that's precisely what's going on here. I mean, that's the idea. I'd much rather be laying in my bed and going to sleep or something like that. Taking a rest. And also the thoughts and the ideas, the someones, the some situations, the some places, the sometimes. oh, it's nighttime and tomorrow's a new day and there's all kinds of other things later, tomorrow, at that other place. So it's not just that attachment that wants that, but it's also that ignorance that thrives on that. That ignorance of the truth that's not bounded by story, not bounded by conceptual thought. And this is a breakthrough, this way of giving, concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, concerned with our Sangha here, right? And our access to mindfulness and detachment, our capacity to give, right, is precisely what it's concerned with. You know, there's all kinds of records, there's all kinds of Dharma teachings and books and scriptures and to be deciphered and listened to and explored and practiced together with. But this is the living Sangha that we're here together with. And it's very vital and it's very potent. You know, still in the modern day, there's a great value to a human being, another human being. And it's not normal to be that isolated. The way that people live in the modern day and in modern dynamics, this hyper isolation, this hyper separation from other people, from community, from deep, meaningful relationships with other people built on trust. It's a disaster, and it's a mental health crisis.
Yeah, it keeps on spawning and breeding off of itself because everyone's afraid.
Yeah, people are
Uh,
afraid. They're afraid of being taken advantage of. They're afraid of being inferior. Sometimes they're afraid of being equal. You know, so if you saw somebody like me, maybe you'd be afraid, I hope I'm not equal to that guy. That'd make me go crazy.
Hate is a form of crying, anger. It's a way of crying, but a different uh, form. But it is crying, like tears in your eyes, crying. So that's something to observe when people continuously hate on others. It's really because they're hurting deeply, really deep, and they need serious, not not light help. They need serious help.
Well, we're the people to help them. You know, this is the space to help those people in those dynamics. You know, that's our job and that's our role as a sangha. And the sangha is the sangha that appears. You know, we can constantly run away. We can constantly try to avoid the people that we attract or the people that we happen to be around in the here and now. But that is our sangha. And it's just creating a space and a dynamic where those people feel comfortable enough or feel open enough and supported enough to share so that we can really hear their side. You know, that deep listening is very, very important. That deep listening is very, very essential. And when people feel that there's a kind of space like that, and there's an energy like that, eventually they open up and share because they feel like they'll be heard. And how rare is that in the modern world? You know, to be heard. It's very rare. It's very uncommon. And it can apply to all kinds of different things. You know, you say, well, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I've had a few beers or something like that. Well, if you can get over your ego and actually be open and receptive and listen, then it's okay. Sometimes we're drunk, sometimes we're angry, sometimes we're fearful, sometimes we have anxiety, sometimes we have depression. That doesn't have to define us. That's just another identity. Oh, I'm drunk. Well, that's just another identity. And so this is a teaching on no identity. You know,
Yeah,
go ahead.
there's there's a there's a there's a high level, there's a high degree of peace, inner peace, true peace, when you begin to get over yourself. and out of your own way. But it's really hard to catch. Uh, Usually, it's actually super easy, but it's also extremely hard. We make it really hard. But once you can register that, uh,
It's like, what are we exhausting ourselves for? Are we exhausting ourselves for helping others, for giving, and actually exhausting ourselves in this process and practice of forgiveness of self, of things, of people, places, situations, etc.? Or are we just trying to make money? You know, we're doing this thing because we have to make money. And so that has an effect. You might very well be exhausting yourself in work, but the intentions behind that and the context in that is not very meaningful or valuable. And all these people who seem to have something to say and seem to have something valuable to offer, they keep it to themselves because they don't have this practical relationship with generosity, with dana, and what that means. Do you know why the Buddha is alive? Because some Indian schlum, some Indian schmuck put food in his bowl. And that's why the Buddha was able to keep being alive. And people say, well, what are you talking about? If he wasn't able to get some food, he would have figured something out. There were tons of yogis, there were tons of sadhus at that time that would not eat unless it was offered to them, unless they were walking around and somebody said, hey, I'd like to feed you. That was the sensitivity of the society and the culture at that time. Now, of course, that doesn't even exist in India anymore, but it did back then, that sensitivity. And so this is also to increase our level of sensitivity. But we don't want to do that because we're fearful. We're fearful of being taken advantage of, or we're fearful of not having some kind of vague standards met, some kind of Christian standards met.
yeah, that's the closest thing to that now. Well, when there's a sangha, when you have a strong sangha, everything's so much easier. And when things are easier, that means you have to make it more difficult by putting more out. And now it's a luxury that it is easy, but now you exercise your luxury of ease by giving more to others. So it never ends. It only gets as difficult as you want it. You know, it just keeps on going and going. And that is a truth. That is a big truth. A lot of successful entrepreneurs embody that. We criticize them, and the media likes to criticize them a lot. But until you've met them and deal with them, and we don't know, we just hear shit.
You know, and
So take
so
it.
the position that a lot of people are in, there's full accessibility here. You can call in. You can share your voice. You can tell, you have something to say. Well, come up and say it to this community. But we don't value our voice anymore. We don't value community anymore. We don't value other people anymore. We value our job or our way to make money or whatever it might be. So I don't operate like that. So then those people are in a lose-lose situation. They're too selfish to reach out. They're too selfish to be heard. They're too selfish and maybe a little bit aware of how inequipped they are in this situation, which is a good thing. A little bit of humbleness, right? Kind of unintentional humbleness. But this space is open. You think you're smarter than me. You think I'm a fool, etc., etc. You can call in and you can share your experience, and we'll see. The Sangha will see what the dynamics are, what the framework is to show up and give, to show up and share. You have to justify it. Oh, this guy's doing this for money. This guy's doing this because he thinks he's so smart. You have to justify it that way, because if I was just doing this to share, that would be too sincere. That would be too vulnerable. That would be too human. And I'm not
That's
allowed to
writing
be
a
a
check
human.
that
I'm not
to
allowed to
say
be
those
human for
things,
your ego.
to say such things, when people say such things like that, they're just writing a check they can't even cash. It's fraud.
It 100%
You
is. It's
have
fraud.
you have to
It's
you have
fraudulent
to come.
activity.
That has to be based on, that castle needs to be built on rock, not sand.
That's right.
It's,
And a rock, I'll
you,
call anybody. I'll call any show. I'll call any space if the access point is available. I'll share my understanding, I'll share my experience, I'll tell them what I think. But usually those spaces will shut you down because they're not focused on this accessibility in the way that our Sangha, our Buddhist community is. And then our egos are so out of control and so ridiculous that, to say that this is a Buddhist community, they know nothing about Buddhism, but somehow that's a disallowed word. That's a banned word. No, it's not about Buddhism. It's about psychedelics. Yeah, you want to take acid, right? It's just nonsense. And like you said, it's fraud. And so if you're trying to respond to a fraudster, you're trying to have a conversation with a fraudster, well, there's nothing to talk about.
that's spirituality as a fashion statement, as a trend, as a, like all these weird, well, hip, all these hippies here in San Francisco and stuff, and like, yeah, I mean, the whole manipulating of one's look to look like Sadhguru, and like, you can shave your beard, it's all good. You don't. I mean, it's just hair.
It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So the attachment to something like that is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I respect garments and the robes if they're, traditionally made, and, gifts, but the need to, like, because there is tradition and it's formality and it's to be respected, but when you are putting such effort on the uh, look, there's it's fucking fake. You, I don't want to say you because I don't want to reinforce your ego. That's not the intention. But what's demonstrated on the
It's your
channel,
experience. You share your experience and then you're safe. As long as you're sharing your experience, you're not talking about if people are good or bad. You're a lot safer in what you're sharing.
my point was that you are um, you have different appearances, but that's just a distraction. It's just, doesn't mean you have to see through that. You could be drawing things on your face, or whatever it is that you put on your head, or different wigs, or whatever. That's just, if you're thrown off by that, then yeah, that's very elementary. You have to see past that. Because when someone is really good at putting on a show to be a professional pretender, you're going to think that that's the truth and you're going to be fooled. So if someone is presenting themselves in the raw, you should take that as, being genuine. It's like someone that's saying, hey, there's something in your teeth, or your fly is unzipped, or hey, this pancake that you made really sucks. Instead of taking it as a personal attack, you should be, oh, thank you. Or like, if you need to work on something and someone said, hey, man, you suck at this, don't let that affect, don't see that as a negative. Change the meaning of that. Yeah, not being bothered by slander or moved by praise, or needing compliments. I used to be that way. I used to seek validation so much when I was in high school. I seek approval and and in some ways I do try to show off, and I catch myself. I'm better at catching myself. But when I was much younger, oh yeah, big show off.
Well, in the
Uh,
Buddhist world, there's nothing wrong with showing off with our generosity. That's a part of the culture. That's an important part of the culture. In all Buddhist temples, you'll find any standard Buddhist temples, you're always going to find a map or something like that that is showing the people that have donated that month, how much they've donated, how much they've offered. And it's a celebration. It's not a celebration of that person, it's a celebration of generosity. And that person gets to say, I'm involved with that, I'm involved with that to this degree. It's also very human, but we've become very inhuman in our ways of operating with one another. It's all about
a
the
donation
algorithm,
is
it's
like
all about our isolation,
a
our access to isolation.
a donation is like a clap. You got
Yeah.
it. Like we're clapping, yay! It's like, I mean, it's giving. It's like a connection point. It's a transmitting of energy and support. It's a deeper meaning. It's like, whoa, okay, we get it. Boom, we're making this happen. It's the gift of, yeah,
But
generosity,
it's
giving.
a it's
Yeah,
a
for
it's a
sure.
way where you have to have your mind in a way where you can feel it rather than be sitting there thinking about it. It's not something to sit there and think about. It's not what it's about. It's a feeling, it's your heart, it's your gut. It doesn't need to be explained to anybody else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why I say to people, don't worry about what I'm saying or how I appear. See the mind. See what you can understand, see what you can connect with in relationship to the mind that's here. And for
And it's a
most
practice
people,
of
they're,
not being attached to money,
yeah,
or the anxiety or the scarcity of you being concerned, oh, you're not going to make the money back. It's because you really lack self belief. So you always want to stretch. That's the power of stretching. You stretch yourself. Okay, well, I made this much. Let me stretch it a little. Don't even think about how you're going to make it back. It's just going to come back.
you know.
No, you can't be bothered by
And
those things.
people who come here and they don't get it and then they leave and they have comments, they're losers. They're
Yeah,
mosquitoes and they're losers, and that's
if you're
life.
struggling with money,
Don't put me in a position to say, "Oh, you're ridiculous for saying that." No, there's losers and there's winners in life. I was a
if you're
Buddhist monk
struggling
for
with
8
money,
years. Don't tell me that
give
this has
more.
nothing to do with Buddhism or meditation, because I have a lot more experience in Buddhism and meditation than that person does. So if you want to be a loser, go ahead and do that. But you're not. See, this is the other thing, is we think that we're doing somebody else a favor by bringing our burdens to them. It's not correct. So the Buddha, when he walked around and he received food, when the Buddha was going around as a beggar, and monks, hundreds of thousands of monks every day go out into the streets and they receive donations, they're not asking somebody to help them in a difficult situation. They're giving those people an opportunity to give in a situation that doesn't need. That's what the robe represents, the lack of need. I don't need to be alive. There's no need for me to be alive.
Even if someone was um, in a position where they needed help and asking, what's the problem? You know, it's not like someone's like living in a nice house with when their mom's paying all their bills and shit, and they're asking for money for shit. That's different. Um, but like if one was in a difficult situation, or just not in a business and they're doing full out Buddhist stuff or whatever, because there's Buddhist. I mean, there's whatever religious. It's hard to, all religions are getting donations, and it rightfully so. I think it's a good thing. It is a good thing. Um, so what? if you're trying to stand on some moral high horse, you're not really going anywhere far by trying to put other people down because they're trying to support themselves. Uh, you know,
That's
YouTube is
right. I mean,
not.
that's a ridiculous way to be. Try and put somebody else down because they're trying to support themselves. It's
It is not
nonsense.
easy, especially YouTube. YouTube is very taxing, psychologically, emotionally. Um, yeah. Put when someone, if you're a hater watching this or whatever, if you're talking shit, switch sides and pretend you're that person. Would you want many people to like talk shit to you? Practice that. Think about that before you try to make
That's the wrong way.
anyone else look bad.
That's the right place. That's the right place, honey.
Yeah, I've never witnessed you get upset with your wife or frustrated unless you were joking around to be funny. But that is something that is, if you look at 90, a fair amount of, I don't need to talk about the numbers because I don't have them, but you just, as Americans, we know how married couples act. Uh, Even my business partner, they're fighting all the time, getting aggressive, frustrated over dumb shit. And it's a lot different when the other person is not speaking your native language, but you still have the utmost patience and grace with them, you know? Uh, so that is a demonstration of one's practice, their level. It is very, very frustrating when your partner cannot speak English that well. Yeah, people, you'll never know unless you've been through that. It's yeah, a lot of foreigner, especially foreigner and Vietnamese relationships, a lot of them fail because of the language barrier. Number two is the cultural differences. Not all. I don't know the numbers, but that is, even people that speak the same language fluently fight. So, anyway, it's something to practice, something I've learned from you. And I
Yeah.
like that because when you get frustrated over stupid shit or trivial stuff or this, you don't have to be frustrated. Like my business partner, he would yell and be like, "You never listen to me," to his wife. I'm like, wow, dude, like you're going through pain, and she's going through pain too because she's freaking stubborn. But I told him, I know she's not using her brain, but if you spoke to her softly, it would penetrate her being and she would get the message better than you yelling at her, forcing her to tighten up and resist your message and energy. It's like the FBI and the CIA, they don't torture people anymore, they don't interrogate people. Now they're very kind with you, super kind, until they get inside and get all the information. So kill people with kindness,
That's right. Kill them with kindness. Torture them with
or
kindness.
kill their ego. How about kill their ego with kindness?
Yeah.
Kill their idea of self with kindness, patience. Because what is someone going to do when they're yelling at you, and you're just standing there, not even just chilling? Like they're going to get burned out.
Well, that's what's happened. I mean, that's what's happened. So many people who've tried to harass
Some
or
fucktards need
attack
to be
or
slapped the fuck up and humbled
well,
and humiliated.
and that's why
You know?
Sangha is good, right? Because I can't control what you do. You know, so if you slap somebody who's out of control, well, that's not my problem. You know what I mean? That's your
Metaphorically speaking.
yeah, metaphorically speaking, that's your experience, you know? And who knows, maybe it'll benefit that person to get slapped up, boxed up a little bit.
You know, humbled. That monkey showed me he was doing it to other people. Thich Nhat Hanh is not like that at all, but that's just who he is. That's what he's not. No one. I mean, he's him, and we are we, right? Uh, he's totally different than that other monk. It's not about right or wrong. It's um, just different people. Yeah, but it would be it would be very nice to come back home to Vietnam.
All right, Pinnacle, my friend. Time to move on. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Have a good day
Yeah,
or evening.
you take care. Do you have any other questions or anything else you'd like to share before we finish?
No. I'm good.
Okay. Take care.
Take care.
So ideal.
Yo, my grandma. Yo, that's over. Is that Dr.
That's
Rob?
ideal.
Is that fucking Dr. Rob, nigga? What's up, Dr. Rob?
Damn it, Dr. Nigga.
Yo, Dr. Rob, can you cleanse these people? They keep talking about CP. Dr. Rob, that's not me.
That was not me either, bro.
It's not me, Dr. Rob. It's not me.
Here, my nigga.
Dreda, it's Chum.
Hello, my
No,
nigga.
no, not me,
Rob,
bro.
I swear it's not me. I swear it's
Bro,
not me.
high
They keep
inhibition. Why
making
are you
jokes
calling
about
out
CP and wanting CP. And
Dude, I'm gonna put a 1-gauge needle up my bottle, bro.
Yo,
Dr. Rob, all I said is just shave the sideburns. You would look like.
Never said I wanted
Also,
CP.
5 Alos is a moderator in the server.
Dr. Rob, just mute high inhibition. It's not that hard.
Yo, high inhibition is a fucking.
Nigga, shut your bitch ass up, nigga.
Yeah.
Chad's
mute
don't
him.
care. Chad's don't care. Chad's don't care if
Shut
you
up.
mute him.
Yeah, but
That's so funny, dude.
As,
Hey, you try to get
never
everyone
as
to hate me, and then just everyone says they love
Did
me.
you do keep inventory true? Did you do keep inventory?
Yeah,
true?
I did.
Say
I
on God.
did.
Are you a woman, bro?
Okay.
He's such a woman. He needs to keep inventory on.
Hey, don't
Fuck.
fucking put in your butt, daddy.
That's what my fucking girlfriend does, bro.
Keep inventory on.
It's like playing with a fucking woman, dude.
Nigga, you have 4 oak.
You're gonna have to mute Coastal.
So during the most recent presidential election, we had on multiple occasions on here where we sat down with the RNC and DNC party platforms that came out of their conventions, and I'm sorry, but the Republicans, it actually had it like an image of America that is at least reasonably acceptable to most Americans.
Is it acceptable to give $500 billion to Iran? Is that really what we're going to say?
No, we're not doing that anyways.
Back when you talked about
No one's doing
healthcare,
that.
because Mitt Romney was the whole reason the Affordable Care Act even was implemented, because he did it in his state. So Republicans actually Mitt Romney did it in his state before the Democrats did it on the national level.
There's no such thing as the conservative party in America. It's one party. It's one group of people. The Democrats aren't leftists. The Republicans aren't conservative. It's a gimmick and it's a game.
Bro, he got banned in DGG for this the other day.
I'm not gonna take anything from like this rave-looking retard, but like it's also we're not giving them any money.
Oh, it is Monk. What's up, retard? You wanna meet up and fist fight?
Well, I want to meet up. I'm not going to talk to an immigrant and a fake American. I'm a heritage American, so you're going to show respect towards me, or I'm going to contact the FBI. I'm going to contact the FBI, and they're going to go and check out your ancestry report. Why don't you get an ancestry report? I bet that there's about 0% of Anglo-American genetics there.
Do you guys want the entertainment, or you want me to get rid of them?
I would love it if you helped me.
I would love the entertainment.
Well, this is my first time seeing
You're
this.
not a heritage American. I can hear it by your accent, buddy. So you can pretend to be a conservative all you want. But I grew up a Confederate flag in the home. I've done my ancestry report. My great-great-grandparents fought in this Civil War.
Came on your forehead, bro.
But we're having a good conversation till Coastal got here.
This is the reason why I joined this.
You're an immigrant. You're not a heritage American. That's not how Americans talk. That's not about how Americans talk. That's not how Americans talk. That's exactly the way that a non-heritage American would communicate. Is exactly that way. So you should be ashamed of yourself.
Out of here.
We should ban Coastal so we can have a conversation again.
I'm just gonna put you on mute. You can stare at us and listen to the sound of my beauty.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah. Hi. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
I can hear you.
Hi. My name is Samarth. What are you called?
You can call me Dr. Rob.
Okay. Dr. Rob, I saw your post on Reddit. It intrigued me. Yeah, because you mentioned, right, you were looking for people who have had their awakening, and I had undergone uh, this kind of experience myself very recently. So I could not help but message you at that point of time.
What was your
Actually, so
experience?
see, I don't know where to begin, but yeah. So yeah. First of all, would you get to know from where am I, or
Lower than me.
how should I go about?
Lower than me. But you can tell me about that experience.
Okay, okay. Yeah. See, so I was on and off in meditation, and I was not initiated into any path. I'm a Hindu by religion, but not too deeply into any of the rituals and other things. It wasn't as if I was looking for a strong union with godliness as such. But since past few years now, I was getting drawn naturally to my higher self, and through I mean, I got into contact with some of the people who are not there in the body. I don't know if you have heard of Jiddu Krishnamurti. Have you? Are you there? Dr. Rob? Hello? Hello? I am sorry, Dr. Rob. Are you able to hear me? Oh, sorry. Uh, okay. I can appreciate that. It's fine. Should I continue now? Okay. Okay. Would you mind if I ask you, is your experience something that you're still holding on? Uh, I mean, it's still closeted. I hope I'm not. Mhm.
There's nobody has any experience in the Buddhist framework.
I see. So, was your, if I may call it that? See, one thing I've realized, Dr. Rob, this and with the actually the starting of the culmination of my experience has happened only like a month back, uh, and what I have come to realize is that the technicalities and the fancy words don't really help that much.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate what you're saying because it is very personal. Only thing that can be said about is there is a great beyond without trying to. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't matter what I say, anyways. It's up to the person listening to believe. Yeah. But back to my experience, since you were interested in that. Uh, so actually, it the actually there were a number of experiences. The very first one on the day following what I look back now as the final test, the last barrier which somehow broke um for me to be able to see the great reality. What followed that was I woke up one day suddenly it felt like I was in my house and I live with the parents. It is common. I have a wife and a child, but
In India?
I'm yes. It's not hard to guess, I suppose.
You sound like, what is your caste? Are you Punjabi?
I'm a Hindu Brahmin by caste.
You're Brahmin.
If you know. Yes.
So you have a nice house?
Uh, I don't know what nice means, but yeah, it's comfortable.
Nice enough for you, right?
Yes. The people in it are actually. That's what matters to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you at in India?
Delhi.
Okay. Yeah, I've spent some time in India. My teacher, he has some meditation centers in Bihar, in Buddha Gaya.
Yeah. Have you stayed in India for a long while?
Yeah.
A considerable amount of time?
Yeah, considerable amount of time. I was at the Mahakumbh.
Oh, really? Just
Yeah.
this past one?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, nice. And you have had your experience before that?
I had an experience there as well.
Okay, so is it, how do I look at it? Is it still unfolding for you?
Is it still unfolding for me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm asking, how do you feel about it?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
I feel good about it.
Cool. That's good to hear. Okay, for me, I suppose it is still unfolding. I mean, the ecstasy and everything. The heights of it has passed already. That's what I feel, and the wisdom, the essence is kind of integrating itself into daily life. The only superpower that I felt at that moment when it started to happen, uh, the only superpower that has remained with me is, I suppose that nothing sticks anymore.
That's a good
What I
superpower.
Yep, absolutely. Although it's not all blissful in the sense it goes contrary to what I had read about it earlier in eternally blissful state. What I have come to acknowledge is maybe this will pass, but my understanding as of today, this moment is it's a bliss that is depressing at the same time because I feel I have gained something, but there is still a feeling of an unburdening. Unburdening is happy, but there are still glimpses of what has been taken off my shoulders. So yeah, I drift in and out of it. But one thing is for sure, I I don't stick to any feeling for more than a few moments, which is good, which helps me move forward with ease now. And there was no agenda to be specific, but um, for the past few days, I'm just looking for people who can connect with me, who have same kind of vocabulary,
Yeah.
or the lack of a better way to put it. And yeah, I am fortunate enough to be finding such people. One of them is you. I have found some other people who are teaching now what they have experienced in ways that people who come to them would understand. Um, so that's about the superpower, right? And beyond all the feelings and everything, I just had a profound remnant of that wisdom is that being a human is superpower in itself. Uh, you don't need psychic fancy abilities to be special. Just holding hands with somebody is amazing for the well-being of both the people. I just find myself finding more and more, a profound sense to give more, share more. Sometimes it goes beyond my current ability to do so, in the sense that if I'm trying to help somebody because I have seen something from that perspective, I try to help somebody, I move 2 steps backward while trying to move 1 step forward. But I think I'll be able to overcome this and will be able to help people in the right way. Although there's a profound sense that there is nothing to be helped, everything is happening on its own. The manifestation is another lens to look at um, being in union with the divine will. So even if it looks like I'm doing something, a part of me knows that it just so happens that I have met with whatever my destiny wishes me uh, to see, and it just looks like magical because it was supposed to happen. Now, whether I call it manifestation or whether I see it as living my destiny is just a way to look at it. Uh, 2 sides of the same coin. And are you still there, or am I talking too much?
What's your job?
I used to be a software engineer a couple of years back, a decade of experience there in that field. But I'm not doing that job anymore. Somehow I drifted away from it. But I'm occupied with some other things which are not professional. But yeah, I think I am making myself useful.
What
in
about
ways that I
Sadhguru?
can. Sadhguru?
Yeah.
That is one of the things I said to my family when they thought I was crazy, that I want to go and meet Sadhguru.
Yeah. Well, you should just go. I mean, Coimbatore, it's just a train ride away. And, go out there and let me know what you experience. But if you have the time, just go and do it. Don't think about it. Just go. And, use your insight and your Indian experience. You have a lot more Indian experience than I do. To just go, and just say, hey, I had an experience and now I want to come and stay here a while and get connected. So just go and see pilgrimages are important. Being willing and able to go on these pilgrimages, it's an important part of the path for us as lay people, as householders.
Mm-hmm.
Visiting a temple, an active temple, a true ashram, true consecrated sites, going out there and experiencing that is important, is valuable, makes a big difference.
I see. It resonates with me also. How do you feel about healing? Helping other people through healing?
Like you healing other people?
Yeah. How do you feel
well,
about that?
most people are doing that lacking in potency. So it's like if you compare yourself to Sadhguru, you're just a wimp.
Yeah.
And so now you're talking about going out and starting your own thing or doing your own thing, but it'd probably be more valuable for us to collaborate, and get some more training, get some more support from somebody like Sadhguru, these various organizations and people. It's important.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And you should use that energy or inspiration to do your own thing, to actually step into more advanced things that are going on, more fleshed out things that are going on, see how you can give to those, see how you can get value from those and develop.
Yeah. Would you be able to decipher, name some of those things?
Sure, I can definitely do that.
Yeah.
I can definitely do that. But going to Sadhguru, that's a good start. Just go. Just tell your family, hey, I'm going to see about Coimbatore, going to see about Sadhguru.
Okay.
And just go. See what happens. That's a big development experience. Just going. Doesn't matter what happens when you go there. Just the process of going to take refuge, to connect, you can get a lot of benefit from that. Who knows what'll happen as well.
Yeah. I understand. Yes, that makes sense. And how is your journey unfolding? Have you have you started a practice of your own, or are you connected with more potent?
Well, I have my own community. I have my own teaching system, and I also take refuge in my teacher and my teachers that I've practiced with. But ultimately for me, the self is always a lie. So there's always a little bit of wiggle room in communicating about these things. But the emptiness of the self, the emptiness of the identity, is very important in Buddhism. The falseness of the self, the falseness of someone, the falseness of any story of someone or position that's being taken in relationship to two someones, whether it's judgment or even help, that there's still that emptiness in there. And that's my experience as well. If I'm talking about myself, it's not much need for a spiritual element. I'm going to go and lay down and take a rest. I'm looking forward to that. So it's not, I've had this experience or that experience, or I'm on this level or that level. That's all secondary to me going down and taking a rest. But it's not because I'm not knowledgeable about those things. It's not because those things aren't important to me, but it's this perception of irrelevance around things in general. So I'm not going to add unnecessary things into my dynamic or into my paradigm unnecessarily.
Do you see a risk of forgetting what you have seen and getting driven away by your own whims? And
what is it?
Do you see a risk?
There's a
with
big
the wiggle
risk.
room?
You lose your family, you lose your mind, you lose your life. It's why Sadhguru doesn't create monks. They accept like 2 or 3 monks every year or something like that to be full-on sannyasins, because that's also not what the Buddha did. The Buddha didn't try to convince people to become enlightened or to become monks or nuns. He gave them the tools to be more skillful lay people and more skillful practitioners, and to cultivate. And if they wanted to be monks or nuns or do whatever they wanted to do, they could do that, and he'd support them in that as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess the initial thrust actually gave life to a lot of the ideas I have had previously, as if the stories can be given life. The stories about occult.
Well, the trust, that's not what the real trust is about. That's what the real doubt needs to be applied to. The real trust is having a guru, having a teacher, having a facilitator. So if you don't have the money and you want to go towards Sadhguru, well, maybe there's something to say about that, right? Well, it would be nice if it was free, et cetera, et cetera. But if you do have the money, then go and check it out. Go and see. And then it's just this sense of stinginess that keeps you from following through with that. And that's where we put our trust. We put our trust in these individuals that are empowered, embodied, seem to have a dimension of freedom that we don't quite have access to. And then that faith, they say, okay, well, this is a process I've set up. This is what I recommend you do. And then you do that. You see the effects of that. You see the development of that.
Yeah, I I hear you.
But that's the main practice method. All these different things, all these different ideas, just wait for people to make money more than anything else.
Yeah. What comes to my mind in response to that, when I mentioned occult, is that I was always driven by this feeling of eureka moments when I really am able to see things as they are. And now, since I have seen that there is whatever is there, that the possibilities are endless, and I just want to witness it for myself. Uh, I intuitively obviously know that all of it is possible. I just want to see. I mean, I'm just trying to do it for the body. I am still in the process of losing it. But what you're saying about Sadhguru seems like a godsend advice, because that is the first thing I mentioned
Well,
to my
that's how you
family.
have to use it. You have to use this want to experiment with sacrifice, going in that direction of what you want. And so your positive point is that your want is in line with the wisdom of the sages of the ages,
Yes.
the ancient ones. So you have to sacrifice along with that. Sadhguru is a very solid point. You know, he's the king of sadhus. He's the king of godmen in India. So if you can go there, it should be that there are some people, there are some activated people, and you can go and get some experience. You know, I also have other avenues that you can go into, but it changes, it shifts. Instead of us using our money to just sustain ourselves or to make more money, now we're using our money, we're using our resources to go in the direction that we want to go in. And it's actually sacrificing ourselves. So it's using this wealth to facilitate our self-sacrifice. And it's not ideal. And you don't want to approach it in an ideal way. You want to approach it in a natural way that puts you on an Indian train going to Coimbatore, not really knowing what's going to happen. You know, and if they turn you away, well, that's all the better. They say, look, you got to sign up for a program. Well, okay, now you can sign up for a program, but going there in that rawness is very, very important. That total openness. And it's not just for yourself as well. That's another thing. You think about not just doing this for yourself, but doing this for everyone. So you're going straight to Coimbatore, not just for yourself, but because you want to help people. And that's the real modality of healing that we're going on to. And it's very connected with accessibility. So if somebody calls you, you're open to pick up. You're open to have a conversation about it. And the more empowered you are, unless you're in somebody like Sadhguru's position, but he was probably accessible like that for many, many, many years. You know what I mean? Where you could hear where he was and show up and he'd give you a big smile, which I'm not very good at. And he'd say, all right, you know, great. We've got, what's your name?
Samarth.
Samarth. Now we've got Samarth on the team. But the aspects change, right? Now Sadhguru is responsible for hundreds of thousands of people. He's responsible for India. Sadhguru is the spiritual prime minister of India. So if we're going in that way and we say, oh, well, why can't I call Sadhguru? Or if I just show up, you know, people should take care of me. Well, maybe they should. But if there aren't people that have some insight that are doing that testing, you know, then there's never going to be the validity for that, because it's just people coming for milk, or it's people coming to get their yoga certification. And that's good too. You know, meeting those people. But a lot of people who get some insight or get some power, maybe they made a deal with a demon. You know what I mean? And now the only way that you can have access to them, the only way that you can approach them is some kind of multi-level marketing scheme. It's nonsense. You don't want to be like that. And if you don't do these kinds of things from where you are at now, you will unfortunately fall into that way of being.
The trap.
Yeah, you'll fall into that trap, because the ego is so tricky. So it's like a lot of people, they think they're a mentor, they think they're a spiritual teacher. If they actually, and this happened all over America when like the spiritual revolution was going on, you had all these self-convinced, and I'm just thinking the joy of going and watching a documentary about some of these people, but, you know, they're very self-convinced. And they said, well, I'll do anything, I'll do everything. And then they came across all these other people that didn't have any insight, and they convinced them. And now they're in a totally untenable position, not for themselves as a practitioner, but for their ego, because they haven't actually exercised themselves as a practitioner enough to know that every step, every stopping point is a place for this awareness without attaching, continuously, endlessly, unfathomably deep, deeper than the ocean. And imagine what it would take for you, using all, not just your resources, but all of your family's resources. Would you be able to go to the bottom of the ocean like some of these people have, these billionaires? Probably not, right? So you have to be humbled by that reality, and then take this modality, this approach of being willing to sacrifice to that degree of what the only thing you really own, which is your actions. And let's say your body and mind. And then going into spirituality, it's that willingness to sacrifice concerned with the highest access point that you are aware of. So somebody like Sadhguru, in your immediate vicinity, he's always around there. So you just show up and you see what happens.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing to my students. I say the same thing to my community. I say, well, we're working to make a meditation center here in Vietnam, because I just have a small apartment. So, so many people showing up, it's going to be a little bit stinky eventually. But I say, look, you feel like there's an access point here. You feel that there's a practice point here. You come and show up and you make it my problem, And so now Sadhguru has so many people in that realm that he has to set up certain boundaries and barriers and all that, because it would be, it'd be too much. But if we can identify that and someone says welcome, well, we have to make that welcoming their problem. And then we can get the most benefit from them. We can support them to practice more deeply, which actually they already know how to do. And now they can use us to do more good deeds, to flesh out the tradition and the community. And now we're in a collaborative situation rather than an exploitative situation. So actually, we want to find a way to exploit the teacher through our willingness to sacrifice ourselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And that was my lived experience of being a monk and visiting different temples and training with different masters, and I didn't practice that in the best way, but I learned to do that in a better way, and so now when it comes up, I'll be more ready to practice that more deeply, because I already have that experience of failure. Or trying to do it with a lack of skillfulness. Then you become more skillful.
Yeah. One of the things I immediately realized as part of this in the series of my insights is we were always where we were supposed to be. The eyes have just opened to it, and it is not that after the realization the divine enters into you. It was always there, and you were somehow already always following the path of the divine. It just so happens that you can see that clearly now. And as part of that, I just wonder, because luckily I haven't lost my sense of curiosity post the starting of the culmination, and that curiosity led me to ask myself, how would a person who has just arrived on Earth uh, all alone would be able to realize the true wisdom? How would that person be able to get himself to a state of awakening? And the answer I get is, wherever there is resistance, embrace it. The resistance is actually intuitively asks a common man to turn away from that. But if somebody is willing to have the courage and just embrace everything that comes his or her way, then that is the path. And even while you're saying this about me going and meeting Sadhguru, I can sense that there is a bit of resistance because there are so many questions about going and what does
Yeah.
freedom
You have
really
to break
mean.
through all that. You have to break through all that. And that's how we get a
Yes,
deeper
yes,
development, you know. And so there's one thing if you're traveling on an Indian train, which I've done, you know,
yeah,
to many times to have a business meeting or to make money, right? And it's
yeah,
another
yeah,
thing when you're traveling on an Indian train to go and connect with the spiritual energy and dynamics of Sadhguru.
yeah. I
And
totally
so the
understand.
whole process becomes something quite different.
Yeah, I see. Uh, yeah, I would be, I guess, going now with the new pair of eyes. I mean,
Yeah.
not pair really, but yeah.
Yeah, well, keep in touch, feel welcome, and it's nice to speak. It was nice to speak with you.
Likewise, Dr. Rob.
Okay.
God bless you.
And what was it again?
Okay.
Samirt?
Samarth, I'll message you
Samart.
my
Well, I
name
was
so
pretty
that you
close,
can
huh?
save
And I
it.
had no idea what your name was, and yet Samart that came right out. So, take care. Send your best wishes to your beautiful wife and your family in Delhi, and I hope to come by. You know, I hope we have a chance to connect sometime.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
will welcome that.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Bye. All right, everybody. Final questions, final sharing experience from the community. It's starting to get pretty late here. It's almost 11 p.m. here in Vietnam, so it's late. So I'm working late into the night. But if we have any final questions or sharing experience, we welcome those. Color is that? Oh, a blue color. Glad to hear that, Tennessee. Yeah, this is Shiva. So Shiva, what do you have to say to everybody who's here watching? Some people are probably a little bit surprised that you're here at this time, Shiva. So what do you have to say to those people? Let's see. Let's see what Shiva has to say. Who here wants to hear what Shiva has to say, everybody?
I'm not a pedophile. My boy.
What was that, Shiva?
My boy. I don't. My boy.
What was that, Shiva?
A what? I'm not a pedophile. My boy.
Well, there you go, everybody. You heard it from the man himself.
I don't. My boy. I'm not a pedophile. My boy.
There you go. Thanks for that, Shiva. All right, everybody. So take care. Be well. Good luck and good night. Are these